Greetings, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. You're tuning into Too Ghoul for School, the podcast, a death-style podcast for the morbidly inclined. Class is in session. I'm your ghoulish hostess, Jocelyn Wen, aka Glamour Ghoul Beauty School. I'm an actress, I have my BA in psychology, and I'm a purveyor of all things dark and spooky. Hello, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. With summer right around the corner, I wanted to highlight the Summer Solstice, which is coming this coming Wednesday, June 21st. It is also known as Litha, or the Nordic celebration of midsummer. Similarly to how we covered Astara for the spring equinox and Samhain for Halloween and Yule for Christmas, I'd like to introduce the fourth and final major witches' Sabbats, or pagan Sabbats, Litha, also known as the Summer Solstice or Midsummer. The Summer Solstice, or Midsummer, Litha, is honored by pagans all around the world to signify the end of spring and the beginning of summer. Back in March, when we covered the spring equinox, or Astara, the length of day and night was equal, and since then, the daylight hours have been incrementally increasing. The word solstice derives from the Latin words sol, meaning sun, and sister or sistere, meaning to stand still. And this happens twice annually. So on the 21st of June, the North Pole will be at its maximum tilt towards the sun, which will cause the longest period of daylight and the shortest period of darkness in the Northern Hemisphere. The closer you are geographically to the North Pole, the longer the day is. For example, in Iceland, they're going to experience 20 to 22 hours of daylight a day for several days. And in the North Pole, luckily no one really lives there, it's going to be daylight for 24 hours for several days. So that is wild. Conversely, during this time in the Southern Hemisphere, the opposite is happening with the shortest day and the longest night of the year. And for the winter solstice, everything is reversed again. Basically, we experience our shortest day, longest night, and in the Southern Hemisphere, they experience their longest day and shortest night. So that's why they have Christmas during their summer. Now, once the Northern Hemisphere reaches its maximum day length on the 21st, so its pinnacle, from then on, this is the start of the daylight actually declining until we reach our next period of day-night equilibrium, known as an equinox, in this case the fall equinox, on September 22nd. So to round everything out, from there the cycle continues, with the nights getting progressively longer until the winter solstice, also known as the longest night of the year, and the cycle begins all over again. And that's why it's so exciting. Now that we have all that covered, let's take a look into some of the fascinating lore and legends surrounding the summer solstice. The ancient Celts believed on this day that the veil between the human world and the realm of the fairies was at its thinnest, so they would light huge bonfires and dance around them to ward off the evil spirits and welcome the good ones. If you're familiar with fairies, you might know about fairy circles, which are often made up of stones, and one of the most famous circle of stones is Stonehenge. Stonehenge is actually oriented to line up with the sunrise of the summer solstice as well as the sunset of the winter solstice, which is super cool. People will travel hundreds of miles to go view it on these days. I would love to one day. The truth of Stonehenge is shrouded in mystery. We have the legend of King Arthur, in which the wizard Merlin created Stonehenge by magically transporting massive stones from Ireland and had them assembled by giants in England. Theories of Stonehenge's original purpose range from it being an astronomical observatory to a sacrificial ritual site, and another theory says that they were actually the ruins of a Roman temple. So it's no wonder that Stonehenge has captured the imagination of so many, and it's just like, how? Giants, of course. The Celts weren't the only ones to celebrate summer solstice. In Scandinavia, the solstice was honored as a festival called Midsummer. As I mentioned in the beginning, it was believed that if you picked 7 different flowers and place them under your pillow at night, you would dream of your true love that very night. The summer solstice has always been seen as a time of renewal and abundance. It represents the peak of the sun's power, and many cultures see it as a time to celebrate life and growth in the natural world. It's an amazing opportunity to connect with nature and recharge your own energy. Some things you can do to feel closer to nature during midsummer and harness the magic that is the summer solstice is what you probably already feel inclined to do. Just spend time outdoors in the sun, naturally. Going to the beach, camping, visiting your local parks and sites. You can create a small bonfire in your backyard or light some candles to symbolize the return of light. Barbecues. Something I'm really excited to do that I personally plan to make is sun tea. So on or around the day of the solstice, you can fill a mason jar with water and use a couple of tea bags. Green tea is supposed to be a really great time for Litha or the summer solstice, and let it steep in the sun. And if you want, you can add mint and lemon juice and honey and let it just heat by the magical rays of sunlight the solstice has granted us. Connecting to the fairy realms through folklore, poetry, creativity is another great way to honor this time. For example, you could read or reread Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. You can also do mindfulness activities like meditating, practicing yoga, journaling, which can also help you attune to the energies of the solstice as well as yourself. And my personal favorite way to celebrate any witch's Sabbath, if you take nothing else away from this, is to have fun. Devote some time to your passions and hobbies. Play, sing, dance, listen to music. Just enjoy this magical time of year. And just some quick correspondences, like if you want to decorate your altar, I'll be putting some flowers to honor Aphrodite, or Deity as I call her, because we're like that. Just kidding, we're not. But I do call her Deity as a term of endearment. So for colors, gold, yellow, white, green. If you want to place a tarot card out, the sun is apropos. You can also add some crystals, citrine, honey calcite, amber jade, and some animals. If you want to include some imagery of that in your decor, would be like butterflies, birds. I see a snail and toad on here as well. And I'm getting this from a Instagram page I really like called Lita Pavlova _magic. Okay. I've only visually read it and never said it out loud. So Lita Pavlova or _magic. I will link it. All right. Well, I hope this helps you celebrate summer solstice coming up. Again, have fun. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the sun. If nothing else, you don't have to do much. That's one of the biggest things I always see is you don't have to create this whole elaborate ritual. It doesn't have to be homework or, work. It can be fun and just as much as enjoying life in the cycle we're in currently. So bright blessings and happy summer solstice, happy midsummer. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Too Cool for School, the podcast. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Thanks for sitting for a spell. Stay spooky, boils and ghouls, goblins and ghosts. Till next time. The word solstice derives from the rhymes. That was okay.